So we've touched on a lot of cards that can go like in your 99, but how about some commanders that are focused on treasure? What kind of options do we have for that?
I think Alex has actually built the first one we have on our list here.
Galaxmari is a legendary creature Elder Dragon for 4 mana, 2 generic, a red and a blue, with flying, and when Galaxmari enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Artifacts you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana to only cast instant sorcery spells. So, not only does Galaxus himself generate a treasure token when he comes into play, it allows you to utilize any treasure tokens you may have already created as mana rocks without having to sacrifice them for the effect. The drawback is, it has to only be an instant or sorcery spell. So, you utilize low-costed, impactful artifacts. Tormod's Crypt is the first one that comes to mind for my Galazeth deck. Able to play it, have it around, tap it for mana, utilize treasures in the same regard, and then if I ever need to sacrifice them for one purpose, I have them necessary for other spells.
I've built the next commander on our list here in a few different decks. I think everyone knows how much I love Malcolm, Keen-Eyed Navigator. 2 and a blue for a 2/2 legendary creature Siren Pirate with flying and partner. And whenever one or more pirates you control deal damage to your opponents, you create a treasure token for each opponent dealt damage this way. I've got it at the head of a mono blue deck alongside of Sakashima the Imposter. I have my CDH Brew alongside Kedis Emberclaw Familiar. It makes so many treasures. This also sees play in Grixis decks alongside of Vile Smasher the Fierce. It sees play in Temur alongside of Tana the Bloodsower. It sees play in Esper alongside of Timna. The fixing, the ramp is so good off of Malcolm. This is one of my favorite commanders that I've seen printed in recent years.
It's very flexible, and I like seeing all the different applications for him. The next one on this list is one that I have touched on already. It is Prosper Tomebound. This is a legendary tiefling warlock for 2 generic, a black and a red. It has Death Touch. It also has Mystic Arcanum. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. It also has Pact Boon. Whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. So I am convinced that this card is better than a lot of people think. It is a commander that has incremental card advantage tacked on. It also has mana advantage as part of its abilities. There's a lot of red impulsive draw effects. There's also some black tutor from your opponent's libraries into exile and then cast them effects. Both of those will trigger Pact Boon. So it kind of works like a Burgi deck where you're casting spells and getting mana refunded, but you can keep the mana around for the next turn. I still don't know what I'm doing with this deck. I want to do something. I feel like it has potential.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with it. Alex, you've already talked a little bit about our next commander. Do you want to go into a little more depth with our friend?
I do. So the next commander is obviously Corvold, Feycurst King. So we've mentioned a few times, but Corvold is a 5-mana legendary creature, Dragon Noble, for 2 generic, a black, a red, and a green. Flying, when Corvold, Feycurst King, enters the battlefield or attacks, sacrifice another permanent. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Corvold and draw a card. We talked a little bit earlier about how treasures are cheap fodder to be used. So definitely good ways to fuel Corvold when he is attacking, or when he comes into play, or simply I cast spells, and by sacking treasure tokens to do so, I'm drawing cards and refueling my hand. He also fits thematically and fits the fantasy that I'm trying to build for my decks, which is dragon on top of shiny, shiny gold. So, if it can make a treasure token and it is in Jund colors, it's going into this deck. Will it be good? I don't know. However, I'm going to win a game with Revel in Riches with 100+ tokens in play. That is my goal for this deck. If it does anything, it will do that.
I mean, the floor for a Corvold deck with a bunch of treasures is already pretty high. Basically, you're going to get a lot of mana and draw a lot of cards and have a giant dragon, and you can do pretty well from that point.
I know, it's going to be great. Like, I hit with a giant Corvold for like 15/15 with an old Gnawbone in play, and then get 15 tokens, and his life is great.
That's ridiculous.
He's just going to sit on his pile of gold.
Well, the next commander we have on our list does not necessarily need to sit on a pile of gold. It is Brea, Ethereum Shaper, a 4/4 legendary artifact creature, human, for white, blue, black, red. When Brea Ethereum Shaper enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 blue Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. 2, sacrifice 2 artifacts, choose one. Brea deals 3 damage to target player or planeswalker. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn, or you gain 5 life. Again, being able to use treasures as just an expendable resource, not just as mana, but also to be able to then make them much more versatile, being able to lightning bolt an opponent or planeswalker, being able to shrink down or even kill off creatures, and I guess in a pinch being able to gain life. That's all just some really nice utility that you can get, and you do have the 3 best treasure colors included in her color identity.
And Smothering Tithe.
Also Smothering Tithe.
Another potential commander, if you want to do a treasure deck, would be Brutaclad Telcor Engineer. This would be a 4/4 legendary artifact creature artificer for 4 generic, a blue, and a red. Creature tokens you control have haste. I'm sorry, one correction. It is a legendary artifact creature Phyrexian artificer. We have Phyrexian creature types now. Creature tokens you control have haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 2/1 blue Phyrexian mirror artifact creature token. Then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. I have said token so many times, it doesn't make sense anymore. Anyway, so Brutaclad would let you take advantage of treasures in a few ways. First, it costs 6 mana, which is a fair bit, so treasures would help you ramp it out early. And then any remaining treasures you have, or any further treasures you generate, could be turned into copies of your other tokens that you have out and swing in with some giant whatever tokens. Or you can also turn all your other tokens into treasures and get a big hefty mana boost.
A lot of versatility in Brutaclad, and it is a really, really cool deck.
Somewhat similar to the Prismari that Alex touched on earlier is Urza, Lord High Artificer. I always say High Lord Artificer, but it is Lord High Artificer. Whatever. Urza, you're a nerd. Basically, Urza is going to turn all of your artifacts into Mox Sapphires. He has the ability of tap an untapped artifact you control to add blue. Much like Galazeth Prismari can have all of your artifacts tapped to provide mana for instants and sorceries, Urza does it just for anything blue. So a lot of the same stuff you can do with Galazeth, you can do with Urza.
Those are a really cool list of potential commanders that you can use to head a treasure-themed deck. And Jake, thank you for getting all of this together. This was a really cool topic to talk about.
It is great to be back. I wanted to hop in with both feet with my new microphone. That sounds kind of dangerous, but I did it anyway. Hooray. It's glad to be back, guys.
Living large, living dangerous. Sounds like you're playing red.
I have been playing a lot of red lately. It's kind of wild.
Sounds like you're playing red.
And black, of course. Yeah, getting that Rakdos on.
Well, speaking of red, who's got our question for the hot seat this week?
You know, I had one when we were just talking before starting recording, and realizing that neither of you have actually read the Forgotten Realms books, my hot seat fizzled out, unfortunately.
Then I have a hot seat question for us this week. So, one of the things that becomes obvious going through this list of commanders for treasure tokens, there are a lot of really, really cool commanders that are available to head this kind of deck. And being the commander format, there are a lot of really cool commanders who appeal to us on more than just a mechanical level, or appeal to us on, a color identity kind of level. Some of them just speak to us from a purely aesthetic level. The way they look, the theme behind them, or something like that. I want to take that to the next level today. So, I want you to pick one of your favorite commanders, and then I want you to cast who would play them. Doesn't have to necessarily be an actor or actress. It could be any celebrity or someone who you would want to see who fits that particular commander. I'm going to get us started while you guys are thinking with my answer to this hot seat question. And I'm just going to go back to my boy Malcolm, who I just adore Malcolm. And I would actually think that a really good Malcolm, just kind of this spindly value engine, seems just kind of mostly cheerful and good-natured. I would like to see Zach Braff play Malcolm.
Good suggestions. However, the only acceptable actor except for playing Malcolm is Jeff Goldblum, for obvious reasons.
I can't deny that Jeff Goldblum would be really good as well. But what about you, Alex? Who would be your go-to celebrity to play one of your favorite commanders?
So this is kind of a cheap shot because it's already been done, and I think it fits. Obviously, it'd probably be Corvold for me, and it's already been done by Benedict Cumberbatch as Smaug in the Hobbit trilogy. But he was perfect for it, and I wouldn't change that.
Okay, fair. Jake, what about you? Who would be your celebrity commander?
Oh, yikes. You know I'm terrible at this. Is it cheating to say Graham Chapman for Kenrith?
No. That was literally the inspiration for that one. I think the artist confirmed that.
It's an eerie similarity between the two.
It's just perfect, though.
But if I had to dig a bit deeper to sit there and say something and not just go generic one, my Sidri deck, I remember being really excited about it. I mean, this was right around the time I met you. If I had to cast an actress to play Sidri, it'd probably be Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I think.
Ooh, that would be a really interesting casting choice.
So if I had to give an answer that actually required some thought, it would be that, I think.
I'm down.
Maybe Gina Torres for Najila?
Ooh.
She played Zoe Washburn in Firefly.
Oh, yeah, she would probably just kill it. That's a really good one. I'm jealous now.
Also worth noting, any wizard, like insert wizard creature here, just replace that with this Ian McKellen for that answer, right? That's acceptable?
I think it's acceptable.
All right, yeah. That's.
I think history is once again history has borne that one out.
Yeah, unless said wizard is bald, then insert Patrick Stewart.
Also can see that one working pretty well too.
Now, those are freebies though. Those are gimmies. My Sidri one is my actual legit answer to the question, I think.
I like that. Julia Louis-Dreyfus would probably do a pretty good job with the role. So, whether you plan to build a deck around treasures, include some cards that just synergize with your deck's plan, or just use them as a resource for an effective source of ramp, there is a place for treasure in almost all modern Commander decks. What is your favorite treasure-generating card? Do you like that this mechanic has stuck around and seems to just be staying as an evergreen part of the game? We really want to hear from you guys. Leave us your thoughts either in the YouTube comments where we are Gemstone Mine Podcast or hitting us up on Twitter. Our main account is Gemstone Mine MTG on Twitter.
You can find me at Necropotency.
You can find me on Twitter at GemstoneAlex.
And you can send us an email at gemstoneminepodcast@gmail.com. We love making this show, and we really love the feedback we've been getting on some recent episodes, so having more people to talk to about this awesome format is always something we look forward to. Until next time, I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Jake.